Blazing It Radio, Larry Ulibarri, Kathie J. Wiggins.
Yes, joining us right now in the Green Solution studio, the smartest man in the world. Well, that's the name of his podcast. He's also at Comedy Works.
He is.
Well, he is as well. Greg Proops, he's performing at Comedy Works tonight, Friday and Saturday downtown. What's up, buddy? How are you, man?
I'm not committed to all 3 days, but yeah, I'll be there. We did the podcast last night, and we had a really nice crowd, and I got lots of swank gifts and stuff. When you come to Denver, that's the best part is...
Herb.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right.
They load you up. And then one cat gave me a bag, and he said, he sent a note with it, and it said, "This is good old basement weed." And that made me laugh.
So did you pull the seeds out of it?
Right? I said, "What's your electric bill? Like $8,000 a month?"
Totally.
Right. His house is glowing at night.
Right.
Yeah. His house is like Spielberg's mothership.
Right.
Speaking of which, one of the dispensaries, I don't know who it was, there was a smash and grab last night.
Yeah,
at
there
one of
is.
somebody busted in one of the warehouses and took out a bunch of herb, I guess, or something.
Look, I was asleep.
Right.
I don't even have a car.
See, that's why he's the smartest
Look,
dude.
how did you hurt your hand?
Man.
How did you hurt your hand, sir? Maybe it was breaking into a dispensary.
I got in a sword fight over a matter of honor with a woman in Spain, and you should see him. I got the best of him. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you did.
I thought you got in a fight with a woman in Spain.
No,
okay. It was for her honor.
To be honest, Floyd Mayweather, I had to settle his hash.
Did you?
He looked at me cross-eyed, and I'm not having it.
That's not you.
Yeah,
right. It's about respect in this business.
Don't step to me.
Right. Floyd was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war, and then it was on.
So
and he
it's
broke
horrible
you.
and puffy, but it's better than it was. So, but I can't bend it. I'm forever Paul McCartney.
So wait a minute. You had a rod put in it, you said?
Not a rod. There's just loads of scar tissue. They had to cut it twice. So I'm trying to get it to bend, but that's a gradual process, you see.
Yeah. So just looking at it, I'm screaming.
I know, but it's better than it was. It used to be this horrible puffy affair. It looked like a catcher's mitt.
Hey, everybody. Got stung by a bee. So you were supposed to be here in August. This is like your reschedule that you're here with this weekend.
Yes, this is my redo week. I don't know who they had came. Oh, it was Bag, right? I think they had Ian Bag. Anyway, never mind him. I had to cancel. I came in this week, so and it worked out. Like I said, we had a giant crowd last night, which was really gratifying. And we had Boulder Women's Health Center there, and we had Tattered Cover Bookstore there because I have a book called The Smartest Book in the World, and it's in paperback. And,
what's that book about?
About 300 pages, and it's about a lot of movies I like, records I like, poetry, history, feminism, stuff like that. It's not to be read from cover to cover. It's not a novel or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
I know in comics write books about their lives and stuff. Well, that always makes me laugh. I'm like, who cares about your life?
Okay, I'm sorry, but some of the most interesting lives are comics. You guys are a different breed of people.
Yeah. I would say that Amy Schumer's book was hilarious.
Well, no, there's no question there where we can be funny.
Right.
I would read
your book.
I would definitely read your book about your life.
I'm never going to write a book about my life. I do the podcast every week and talk about everything I do.
There you go.
It's an oral history.
Yeah,
for
sure.
The expression.
Well, you've been in the game for a while, man. I mean, you're still on Whose Line Is It Anyway, but you were on the original version as well. Now it's on CW. You appear on that, and it's...
Thank you for knowing that, man. A lot of people are like, do you miss doing the show? And it's like, we're in our 6th season.
Yeah, you're still doing it. Yeah.
Still happening.
No, I still watch it. I love that show back in the day, and I love it now, man. It's kind of why you want to be in the entertainment business is because you want to have that fun.
For sure. And the best breaks are always the ones that are just where you go off on a tangent and have fun and improv, and that's kind of what we do here, but it's nice to see, I always wanted a shot on that show. So fun.
Oh, no, for sure. Because improv is yes and. Like somebody throws it at you and you just got to roll with it. And you guys
Can
are
we do
hilarious.
some?
Do you want to try to improv?
We're doing it right now.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I was wondering if there's any
Larry, do you want to improv with the best in the
No, I
world?
just thought we all as a group.
It's a game called Questions. You can only ask questions. There are no statements. No hesitation, only a question, right? In the form of a question is everything you say. So all I need is a location where 2 people might be. Anybody?
Okay.
A location?
Denver.
Denver.
Well something a little more specific might be.
Okay.
A little more specific.
Downtown.
Like a library or something.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, we didn't.
The Green Solution
We're in a
dispensary.
dispensary.
How may I help you, sir?
I don't know.
You're at a green.
You lost.
Oh,
that was that
Larry.
game.
Wait, I don't know?
No, yeah, you
Late
got
on that one.
question.
All right. So
Okay.
I have to ask a question in
Yes, we
response.
already set up the
All right,
premise.
here we go. Here we go.
Larry, it's over.
Okay. Oh, that's it.
You
It's
lost.
already
You voted
over.
off. Yeah.
Give him one
Okay.
more shot.
All right,
okay,
all right.
okay.
Give me another location, please.
Oh, okay.
A dog park.
You're not supposed to give your own location.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're getting a suggestion.
Okay.
Otherwise, it looks like you rigged it. And you
Yeah.
did it poorly.
Okay.
You didn't even get through the first line on the last.
I'm scared.
Okay, 16th Street Mall, the outdoor mall downtown.
16th Street Mall. Hey, do you see the tram?
Yes, I do.
Larry!
No. Question.
Do you think it's going
I
east?
should have said what tram.
You're right, yeah.
Damn it.
And when you play that game in the future, should you ever play it again? Who, what, when, where, why,
Okay.
how? Yeah.
Okay, then there's
I,
you go.
can't, I would have thought you would have
Question.
aced that.
Yeah,
Okay,
like you're
I'm-
the funniest out of the three of us.
I'm high.
Well, you shouldn't have done that before the smartest man walked in the room.
Exactly.
Right.
Now do her.
No, don't do me.
Oh.
But you know what? Improv, I mean, your brain always has to be working. Did you get the title of the smartest dude when you were young, or like in college or in high school and growing
But
up?
I was thinking of to do the podcast. A couple cats asked me to do it. Ryan McMenamin and Matt Belknap, and they do Jimmy Pardo's show and they do Doug Benson's show.
No, they're
So they
The
you
best.
know, they asked me, "Will you do a podcast?" And I was talking to a friend of mine named Phil Bowman, who's a screenwriter, and he goes, "Do you know how you come off?" And I went, "No." And he goes, "Like you know everything." And he goes, "Call your show The Smartest Man in the World. Take questions and brook no dissent." And I said, "That's hilarious."
It is.
So he gave it to me, and he said, "The Smartest Man in the World."
That's
right.
cool.
But
Yeah.
it is you. I mean,
Right.
you knew.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
right away.
Yeah, it was a perfect fit.
Well, you were like, finally, somebody said it. I couldn't say
Right.
it myself.
Well, no, of
but
course.
I've been waiting for somebody to put it out there.
You're too close and have no perception of your own. I mean, I obviously I know what I come off like, but when he said, "Do you know what you come off like?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And then when he said that, I was like, "That's hilarious."
Right.
Yeah.
And only guys can test it, really. Like, you go to like a sports station and they're like, "What makes you the smartest man in the world?" Like
Yeah, right.
in Texas or somewhere. That
Right.
always do that. And it's like, it's a joke, you guys.
Right,
And
right.
no woman ever can test it. Every woman laughs. And goes,
Right.
"Ha, ha, ha."
I'm cool
Obviously,
with it.
you're not the smartest man in the
I'm
world.
sure Trump would have a problem with you being the smartest
So
man when
smart,
he's the smartest
so many
man.
words, so many great words, amazing words. So smart, so very smart. It's sad that he thinks he's smarter than I am. No.
It's so sad.
Are you recording? It said that you're recording all over the world. Your podcast, is that true? Like, do you record in different locations,
It
or?
is, sir. We're here in Denver this week, and then we're back in Los Angeles, and then we're going to New York, and then we had to cancel London and Paris, but I've already done London, Edinburgh, and Glasgow this year, and Paris, and we've done it in Helsinki.
Wow.
Oslo,
Okay, we're on the road now. We're going with him.
Yeah.
Damn.
Amsterdam, Antwerp.
Do you fund that yourself, or is it all sponsored? or-
Canada. Oh no, this is a dog and pony. My wife and I are the whole show. Ryan and Matt put it up and help produce it, and edit it and whatnot. And in case I say something horrible, and no, but it's just my wife and me.
Okay, so
Right.
do you ever get sponsored? Anything
Oh
sponsored?
yeah, we have sponsors. Of
Oh,
course,
cool.
it's a podcast.
Right,
like
sure.
everyone else, Squarespace and all the people that advertise on every single podcast
Right,
in the
right.
universe.
Yeah.
Audible. That
Right. Now, do they automatically say, "Here's your schedule. You show up at this hotel. You do this. We'll see you."
or
at
your
this
I make
podcast."
freestyle.
I make
That's
schedule.
you.
And so, like, when playing in the Comedy Works, and it took Comedy Works a couple years to get down with the program. The first year I did it at the Comedy Works several years ago, I had to do it as a late show. Like, I did my regular stand-up
And then
set,
you'd-
and then they're like, "Well, now go do your cute little podcast thing."
No, but I'm tired.
Right,
Right.
And I
energy's
don't want to
gone.
do cheese because
Right.
the podcast is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And,
People didn't understand that, how much work goes into that stuff.
and it's an hour and a half of me sitting,
Right.
in one
Right.
place, spieling the whole time. So then in the last few years, of course, now that lots of people come,
Oh, they're into
you
it.
can have your own night.
You know what?
Right.
We'll give you your own night.
We'll
Show
open up for you.
Yeah,
That's
right,
awesome, though. But I
right.
mean, you're pioneering that for a lot of people, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're getting people used to that, because we ran into the same thing when we're always ahead of the curve, and thanks to Wiggins, we're always like doing things that traditional radio can't. And so some people, when we try to explain things to them, they're just like,
What?
Yeah.
Right.
right, like
He's
Wiggins has seen that
speaking
face
another
hundreds
language.
of times.
Yeah.
And for a minute, their podcast came out and they didn't go anywhere. They weren't successful.
Well, there was so
and
many.
then technology caught up and helped it.
It was the smartphone. I had a podcast on Audible that I was paid way too much money to do from 2001 to 2005.
Okay.
And nobody
Yeah,
listened.
it was way back.
Because you had to have an MP3 player.
Yeah.
Right.
You downloaded it
Yeah.
into a thing.
Pain
You
in
hooked
the
it to
ass.
a computer. And then as soon as smartphones came out, they became instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a kid say to me, I say that because I'm old, 20-something, said
Right.
to me, held up their phone to me and went, if it's not here, it doesn't exist.
Oh.
And I was like,
And you punched them right in the gut.
As far as entertainment goes, they're right.
They're absolutely right.
If you people who run network TV and everything, as you can see, are completely panicked because they go to their 12-year-old when they're sitting at home with them and they're like, "Hey, did you like my TV show I produced?" And the 12-year-old's like,
No.
I didn't watch it.
Didn't watch
Don't watch it. Don't care.
Yep.
I'm watching what I want on my phone anytime I want it.
Right.
And the podcast falls right into that. So it came along at the perfect time for my life because now I can deliver something once a week that everybody knows. And it's automatically, if you subscribe to it on your phone, it pops up on your phone.
Yep.
And you're your own boss.
Yep.
That's the best part. Like
No meetings.
Dude, we just made the same move. We were the #1 radio station here.
Traditional radio,
traditional radio for 15 years. And they wanted to hand us this corporate crap, and they wanted to, us to take pay cuts, this, that, the other, or play the same 5 songs in a row, play 10 commercials in a row. And so we got this opportunity to do this thing with the Green Solution and do it our way. And it's like so liberating.
Well, we wouldn't be able to do interviews like this with Greg and be able to promote your show and just sit down and talk.
Actually have a real
First of all, we
conversation.
haven't had 3 stop sets already.
Exactly.
And we haven't had to stop to play a record that no one cares about.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And-
You just hurt his hand again.
No, I did it very gently. I was gentle.
I love when I go on, the big formatted corporate stations, and they'll stop and they'll play like, a Katy Perry record. or
Right.
something. And nothing to diminish Katy Perry.
No, we're with
I
you.
adore her.
Right.
But
It's their thing, yeah.
Well, you're like, who that owns a house and a car that has any money is listening to Katy Perry? So you're defeating yourself here by not letting me talk, where I will sell more stuff than she will.
Right.
And
Right.
just
They have so
because-
many places they can hear Katy Perry.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they want that, you can go to
Did you
get
know
it
there's
wherever.
a guy named Rick in a room with a short sleeve shirt and a tie who hates his life, who's
Right.
the program director,
For real.
who's afraid they're going to change into a country format any minute.
Any minute.
Oh no, for
Exactly.
sure. It's like you're reading our minds.
Yeah.
Radio.
Yeah,
right,
for real.
and television. Just
Yep.
like both of them, they just keep complaining. There's no money. People aren't coming here anymore for these avenues, and it's true. And I'm sorry, but you got to roll
But
with what's
you
changing.
still need the plug, and you still need to see Greg Prooper tonight.
Greg Prooper. Greg Prooper.
Yeah.
They call me Prooper.
Yeah, Proops.
He's Proop Dog.
Something said Prooper on here. It screwed me all up.
It's okay.
No, he
It
can't
said
read.
Prooper. I
He's
can't
the smartest
read.
one out of the
Yeah,
three
you're
of
the
us, but
smartest guy in the room. I'm the
So what
dumbest
is it
guy in
then?
the
What
room.
is
There
it?
you go.
I like Prooper.
Yeah, comedyworks.com. You see Proops tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday at Comedy Works downtown. And I'm done talking. All right, you guys
No,
take it
you're
over.
all
Yeah.
right.
Fine.
I think TV and radio are still good for big ticket things like a giant sporting thing
Yeah.
or breaking news, that kind of thing.
For
and
sure.
you have to have it because it's sort of the free background noise of everything.
Yeah.
For sure, it's like you put it on in the background, but it's like the days of watching a show in real time gone.
Appointment viewing and all that.
Right.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
over. They have to fit your appointment now.
Right,
And
for sure.
It's taken show business a really long time to realize that, which is, I think, why you see 5 million superhero movies, because they've run out of ideas.
Right.
And
Completely.
they know that they have to play to the foreign market now because American people are like, yeah, we've seen Avengers
that.
8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done it. Been there.
And the thing with that was they lose the contract if they don't keep making the Spider-Man movies. They could lose it, so they just keep making the same movie over and over with a new guy. And you have to go through the whole thing. He's in school, gets bit by the spider. How many times
Right,
do we have
right,
to see
right,
this?
right.
How many times do you have to see Batman's parents get shot and the pearls go in the street?
Oh, it's
Dear
horrible.
Lord.
Although I liked Wonder Woman. I watched
Yeah,
it on
that
the
was
plane.
awesome.
I
Wonder
watched it on
Woman
the
was
plane.
badass.
That's good.
Yeah, we've been waiting a long time for a Wonder Woman since Linda Carter. Like,
And I
it
love
was
that
good.
she came in and killed it.
She sure did.
Gal
She killed
Gadot
it.
or Godot, whatever her name is, she's so hot.
Yeah, I heard
She
it
gives
again.
me straight feelings, and I'm gay.
So your wife's not on this trip with you. She's waiting for it to head out.
No,
to...
we're going to New York in a week's time, and then she'll go to that. We're going to Thanksgiving, and then we're doing a really fun gig in New York at the first weekend for any of your listeners who are going to be there, December 6th and 7th. I'm going to be doing Nightmare Before Christmas live with Danny Elfman, full
Yeah.
orchestra, and
Shut up.
no,
Your voice in
I
there.
won't.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a bunch of voices in the movie, and we did the movie ages ago. Golly,
I am the one with them. Oh my
Right,
God.
right, that's him.
Sure, in a flash had gone without a trace.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
know.
Yep.
And
That's
so
so
do you
sick.
get to go to Disney World and Disneyland for free around Halloween?
No.
Because it's always turned into Nightmare Before Christmas.
You've been
Yeah, they
through it
don't
when
care.
it's Nightmare Before
I
Christmas.
haven't
right?
actually.
Oh my God. We're taking you with us.
and
I asked my wife the other day, should we go? Because I've never been on
Oh my
it.
God. So tell us and we'll time our trip out there and we'll both podcast while we're out there.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It would be an honor, but-
because they really take the mansion and they convert it in a way to Nightmare that you're like, how do they get all this stuff in here? And it looks so different, and I'm sure your voice is all over it.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
And we did it the last 2 years at Halloween. At the Hollywood Bowl, and then I guess Danny decided this year that he wanted to do it in New York at Christmas.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it goes either way. It's a double duty movie.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, it's really fun.
What's he
it's
like?
the most fun thing I get to do in my life. I'm absolutely hysterical through the whole thing. I laugh through the curtain call.
That's awesome.
Because there's a 100-piece orchestra, 40 people in the chorus. There's 5 of us singers, and Catherine O'Hara's there, and Ken Page does
Whoa.
Boogie Woogie. In
Pressure.
Hollywood, Pee-wee did it, but I don't think he's coming to New York with us. But and Danny sings, and he's tremendous, and it's like being in an opera.
Wow.
I'll never get closer to being in an opera than I will to sing the soundtrack. to
That's
this
cool.
movie.
That's sick.
So the other singers talk during the overture and the entr'acte. You know, we're backstage.
Yeah.
And they'll yak, and I go out in front and watch. I watch every moment of it.
It sounds.
Because I feel like I'm
awesome.
never going to be in anything this great again, you know.
Totally.
And you hear gongs and bells. And
That's so cool.
I'm post up next to John Mary, the conductor. So I'm here. Like when they start something, he'll be like,
Whoa.
So yeah, I'm right on deck.
You
And,
get chills. You're like, that's right.
So you'll be like me when you asked me to play that improv game.
Don't
I'll
fuck
be
up
like,
your cue. Don't fuck
You
up
know
your
what?
bus.
Right.
What bus? What bus?
Yeah.
Or if you hit myself later in the head. What
Play it
bus?
safe and give him the cowbell.
Right, more cowbell.
He can do the cowbell.
You did a voice, lent your voice for Star Wars too. Is that right?
I'm the a pod race announcer, Fode, in the Phantom Menace, which, as you may recall, a terrible accident happened and a lot of the plot was destroyed.
Okay, that joke will never get old.
Oh my God.
And then subsequent to that, every single bloody video game that has a pod race. And then I was on Clone Wars, not as the pod race guy, but a bad guy named Tal Merrick. And I try to kill Princess Amidala, and then I get killed. So then I get a call, and they go, "Hey, you want to come back in and do Tal Merrick again?" And I went, "I can't do Tal Merrick. My character's dead." And they go, "Greg, this is Star Wars. It's a prequel."
We do anything we want.
So we're making another one now, but I'm not to speak of it.
Oh, cool.
There is, of course, another one coming out that's a cartoon series.
So do you record that where? I mean,
Hollywood.
Okay, not in.
Star Wars we never did in the United States.
Oh, wow.
We recorded in London and Mexico, and we did it all in England.
Wow.
We shot in Leavesden, outside of London. This was a lot, again, like a nightmare. This was in the 90s, and because Phantom Menace is that old.
Right.
And then we did all the recording in London. So right before the movie came out, Phantom Menace, it was, I don't know, maybe I was asked to go to a recording studio in London. So I went, and there was a phone. This is the 90s, in a cradle with a speakerphone, right? And a guy down the line from Marin, from ILM, right? And we ran the sequence, and I did the voice, and every single pass was perfect, right? Like, whereas I'd already recorded it 1,000 times. I go, "Well, I don't care what galaxy you're from. That's gotta hurt." And they go, "Perfect, moving on." And finally, I said, "When does the movie open?" And he went, "On the other end, 10 days."
Oh my God.
So when it gets toward the finish line,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you were great. That was awesome.
Right.
Perfect.
First take. First take.
You're all
No, we didn't do any second take.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say,
crazy.
can we talk about a raise? I can hold this whole project
Then we got
up.
to re-record it for the DVD.
Oh,
And
wow.
then re-record, like,
Right,
it's
'cause
just
he's
a
gonna-
never-ending thing.
In
does.
10 years, he's going to call you and go, "I'm redoing the whole thing. I need
Right.
you to
Yeah.
voice this."
I need you to say this. Okay, now all those voices I totally see coming out of you, but the one that I don't because I watch it with my daughters, Bob the Builder.
Well, Bob the Builder's this one. Can we build it? Yes, we can. Oh, look at you, Larry. You reduced, reused, and recycled. It's just my voice, but more enthusiastic.
Okay, right.
That's hilarious.
Because
People
you
always-
really, he's kind of like a high-pitched, happy, crappy,
Yeah.
right. And so, but, good lessons. You teach really
How
good
do you
lessons.
how do you
Pick up the
audition
garbage.
for those things? Because like Larry can do an array of voices,
Yes,
and he's
I
really
see.
good. And so how do you? I mean, you've been
have
in
an
Hollywood for a
agent.
minute, yeah.
That one was my favorite one because I went into the studio. That was in London too. A company that's no longer there called HHE. And I went in and I was doing all these different voices, like all funny, this and that, and finally, because in Britain is, over the speaker, Greg, would you mind doing it again in your voice? just your voice. And I said, "Are you insinuating that I have a funny cartoon voice?" So I read it like I'm talking to you. Hooray! You recycled. And they said, "All right, would you like the job?" Right there.
Wow.
That's never happened to me ever on any other job.
Wow.
Any actor will tell you that never happened.
Right.
Right.
In the room, they said, "Do you want it?"
That's crazy.
So I went, yeah, that'd be great. And then I ran outside and found my voice station. I'm like, call them back right now. Don't give them a chance to change their mind while I'm walking down the street.
Right.
So we did it for about 4 or 5 years, and then they sold the company as corporations go. And so now someone else does Bob the Builder.
Right.
I wasn't the first one. There was a guy ahead of me too. That did
Really?
it. And then there's an English one. I did it for North America. The English guy was Neil Morrissey, who used to be on Men Behaving Badly.
Okay.
It has a bit of a northern accent. It's like that. You know?
Oh, right.
Let's have a cup of tea and go to the caravan.
Yeah. Haven't seen that, Bob.
Reuse and recycle.
You don't get to see that. Recycle.
Recycle.
He had a bit of that going on.
Sounds like a Beatle.
Yeah, he did. He was very slightly Beatlish, which I thought was really cute.
Well, Greg Proops, thank you for coming in, man.
Bye.
We really
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
way to cut it off.
Sorry,
Wow.
man. We have to play it.
He was so excited to
get the
pronounce your name right.
Yeah, I know. And we do have to play a stop set here at some point. So
We
do-
only have
But
one.
we still have to
It lasts
play
30
it.
seconds.
Yeah, can you wait 30 seconds? That's
Yeah.
all my
Yes.
stuff.
And then we'll be back into it. It's just a live with Kathie.
Wait, I need to do a live right now?
Well, we were supposed to. It's okay. It doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
can do it. He can even be in the live.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
for
ever-
Mike Sawaya. So let's
Sofa
do
Bed
it.
Warehouse is having a sale. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Actually, it's a guy I like. So it's a
Not
lawyer.
like that, though.
Oh, no?
Well, you like him, but not
Oh,
like yeah.
no, I like him, but not like that. Like
My
that. I like him.
guy, my
Okay,
guy,
so
my guy.
everybody out there, if you've been in an accident, or you know somebody that's been in an accident, and that includes an accident on the job. Look, lawyers, they're not really in it for you. You always think they're in it for the money. But Mike Savoya, I'm telling you, he is there for you. Treats every client like it's his first client, still works on the same desk that he had when he began as a lawyer. Call him today, 303-GOOD-LAW. He's the #1 personal injury attorney in the United States. He's done over 30,000 cases, and he will treat you like you are his only client. Call him today. He'll get the most money out of those insurance companies. He hates it when people get taken advantage of.
He is the best, and he is like a real person that, like, when you meet him, he keeps eye contact and uses both hands like he's in the moment with you.
Right.
Like, so when we went with him to Florida, he was like, yeah, you guys can stay in my house in Hawaii. And we were like, what?
What?
And so I
How do
also
we-
have a mansion in Mexico if you guys prefer. And we were all, oh my God.
Is this
so,
supposed to
I'll
be
take
a
the mansion in
commercial?
Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. No, and so he's really that genuine and
island?
sweet. He,
don't-
it was on
Hawaii?
Honolulu.
Yeah,
Oahu.
the Big Island.
Oahu.
Right?
So yeah, anyway, he loves Kathie.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen anything like it. It's like Kathie is spread pretty thin on all of
Are you
her
married,
best friend
Kathy?
guys. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
I'm
is.
married.
Oh.
Yeah.
But no, he's just
Ooh,
a
you
super
could have had a
duper
lawyer.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know, right? My mom finally would have been proud.
Right?
of
I was
me.
going to say.
Damn.
What does your husband do?
Damn it.
He works in broadcasting.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he's more broadcasting.
Right.
I know, but you know how with Jews, you got to have.
I
So,
know.
he's a
I'm always
doctor,
gonna
maybe?
he's not a
Right.
doctor. I'm always going to be a disappointment.
Right.
Thanks for pointing it out, Greg.
Little Shonda, yeah.
Right.
Her husband's awesome. He's almost a doctor, kind of.
Well, his nickname's Mr. Efficient.
Like, he can do anything. Like,
you
he
need
can.
you need good guys that can totally take care of business. That's my
Right,
husband.
like when Kathie leaves, he's like, "All right, here's your thing. Here's your list for the day. You have a Pap smear at 2.
No, he
You're
doesn't
picking up
do
the
that.
girls
He
at
doesn't
soccer,
do that. He doesn't
and don't
do
forget the fruit roll-ups you have to pick up for the school. It's your turn to buy the snacks."
Again, that's Mike Savoya, 303
Yeah.
Good Lot.
That's the best lawyer commercial I've ever heard.
Yep.
What the hell happened in it?
Call now.
Okay, so we're out of our commercial break. So,
All right.
Greg,
Back to the regularly scheduled
Yeah.
program.
We're doing it like Viceland. Have you seen the channel Viceland?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of real not traditional with their stop sets and their promos. You don't know, am I in a promo or a show? So we're kind of just going the opposite of traditional radio. And so sponsors will be limited, and you're not going to hear long stop sets and stuff like that. So
so back to you, Greg.
That's my darling.
Tell me, are there tickets still available for that event in December?
I believe so. Yeah, that's it's on my website, gregproops.com. But
Okay.
you can go to it's the
I
Barclay.
want to go to that.
I do too.
The
That's
Barclays Center, where the Nets play, all the sports teams play at the Barclays
Right,
Center.
right.
And like it's the kind of venue where like Jay-Z plays.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that,
no, for
that
sure.
level
It's
of
big
like,
pimpin'.
yeah,
Right, right,
it's,
right.
it's a giant thingy.
And you've done so many cool things in this life, so it's really cool.
I'm not lucky on
if
that,
you're
yeah.
saying that this is one of the coolest things, I gotta see it.
It is really. Like I say, I'm like a 5-year-old the whole time we do it. Obviously, I freak out and I'm really nervous to blow my cues and stuff.
It doesn't matter if you do, though, right?
Not really, because the
Right.
thing just keeps chugging along no matter
Everything
what you do.
is a
Right.
question. Just know that everything you have to say is a question.
How's that?
Yeah, that's just like, don't. Oh, damn it! He did it! Damn it!
You can't mess with him, man. He's the OG.
That was the force.
You gotta wake up earlier than that, Larry.
Yeah, damn it.
Hey, how was Whose Line Is It Anyway? Were you already so established that it just kind of another notch in the belt, or did that take you to the next level?
The reason I'm even here is because of it. I was a working comic in San Francisco. I was playing, all over the country and junk. And I got on the show. That was in 1989. I was 14 years old. And that's a joke.
Oh.
I was believing it. I was so
literally.
into it. Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's crazy to hire a kid.
We ran for 10 years in England.
I hate math so much I didn't even try to add it up.
Right.
We ran for 10 years in England with the English show, and then, which no show runs in England that long. Shows in England last about 2 years, other than Have I Got News for You and Newsnight, which have been, and the horse racing show. Those have been on a million years.
Because
and,
they're so finicky, or they're
football. You know how in the States there'll be 25 writers, or there'll be a dozen writers on a sitcom,
right?
And then the people who created it, and then they'll back up and EP it, and then the writers take over, and it'll run forever, and they keep changing writers. In England, it's often the person who thought of the show, and maybe one other person, and they write all of it.
Oh, damn!
So they don't have a staff.
So they get burnt out,
right? After 2 seasons, and now you've
I've
run
run out of
episodes.
ideas completely.
Right.
I don't know what to think.
Yeah, like the only analogous one I can think of is in the States is the Flight of the Conchords. And I knew them from England, right? I met them there. And I've worked with them on a bunch of continents. And I had a radio show in England, and they did my radio show when they weren't famous. And then they had a radio show on BBC Two, and or Radio 2 rather, and I did their show. So then they got their TV show. It's years later, and they got their show on HBO. So they call me and they go, "Do you want to do the same character that you did on the radio show?" Which was an asshole agent. And my joke with them was always, "I love you guys. I love that you're Australian. I love that, everything.
Right. I love everything.
Rick and Jimmy or whatever. I got their name. One of you's funnier than the other. You really should drop him. You really, really need to drop him." And that's all I did to them all the time. Every time I saw them, I'd go,
"Why do you put up with this person?"
Right. I love what you guys do, but one of you is just an anchor.
You're bringing it down. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
So we did the show, and I did the same character, and I offered them a deal. I think it was what was it? Femident, a woman's toothpaste. It was that episode. And Andrea was my assistant. She was hilarious, and it was really good fun. And I go, "So, fellas, who's writing the show?" And they go, "We." And I go, "Well, how many more episodes?" And they're like, "We've run out of material."
And they're good.
And that's
we've done everything we've ever thought of since our first open mic.
That's why we brought you back.
Because they turned down a third season.
Wow.
They had a third season offered them.
Why? Because I loved that show.
It's a great show.
We can't.
They didn't have 50 writers. They wrote it.
Oh, that sucks.
They
But I mean, it's also kind of cool because then it's like, as opposed to something. I mean, I like sitcoms that live on. Like, I'm a big Modern Family fan, but those, that's special. That show,
Fawlty Towers.
Right.
12 episodes.
Flight of the Conchords.
Well, AbFab used to be that way. Then they came back and did a bunch more seasons.
Exactly.
But, I still love AbFab.
Sweetie darling.
Yeah.
She's all thin.
Yeah.
Thin.
So that's kind of why. And then when we did it on ABC for like 4 years, and then they put us up against Monday Night Football the last season, and that was that.
Oh.
And then they brought it back on the CW.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm on the road. I just finished. I was last week on the road with Ryan Stiles. I'm in a group with him. He's the tall one.
Yeah.
And
he's Lewis, right?
He's Lewis.
Yeah, he's like that's. I hate to typecast, but that's how I always think about it. That was Lewis.
He's Lewis.
Yeah.
And he's on 2.5 Men, and him and me and Jeff Davis and Joel Murray are in a group together, and we tour all the time. But we just finished our last date of the year last week. We did the Midwest, and then we go back out again in January. So
that's your crew. Those are your boys, huh?
And then I did Edinburgh with all of the English cast with Josie and Mike McShane, Stephen Frost, and Clive Anderson. We did Edinburgh this year in August, right before this happened. And so people ask me, "Do you miss Whose Line?" It's like, no. Because I can't shake them. Yeah. I'm around them all the time.
They keep pulling me back in.
Right? And then the last two summers, we did the West End in London for 2 weeks with me, Colin, Brad, Jeff, Josie, Clive, Kathie, and Linda and Laura.
Okay.
It's got to be fun.
which in a big West End theater. So we did that. And then
So cool.
next Christmas, we're going to do Royal Albert Hall with Who's Line for 2 nights. So.
Do you take any time for
I
yourself?
was
Do
gonna
you ever
say,
go on
you
vacation?
Are, you are
or-
not
No.
stopping.
No, you don't chill.
That's probably why you and your wife, you just make such good travel partners with podcasts and stuff. Because
Right.
I would feel horrible going to all these cool places and she wasn't with you. So
Oh,
now
no,
you
she
guys-
goes on
yeah,
all of
so you
those.
guys-
Yeah.
you said Glasgow.
If we're going
and
to
all those-
London or New York, she's
Yeah,
going.
she's going.
Right.
She's
You go
going.
to Cleveland, not so much.
So when you become part of the Star Wars like family or folklore, do they give you a jacket? Does George Lucas? Did you get to meet him? Anything like that?
Oh, I shot with George Lucas on the day. Me and Scott Capurro, who's the other pod race announcer, we were in we had giant prosthetic heads made, and we went into the model shop. Well, is this boring?
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
Are you kidding? I have a hard on.
No, I don't know who's a Star Wars.
We're Star
all
Wars
of
nerds.
us.
Star Wars nerds.
I mean, it's not my favorite, but
How dare you?
Yeah,
Where?
whatever. That's like a kid who works at a candy shop.
Right. I hate candy.
Right.
Right.
I'm over it.
what? Oh, every day with the eclairs. We went into the model shop, and they had just had. This will give you an idea of what year it was. They had been just done the Avengers. You remember that?
Okay.
crap?
Yes.
With Ray Fiennes and Uma Thurman.
Okay.
Yes.
With Eddie Izzard suspended from the ceiling.
Right.
and
That was
wearing
terrible.
a bear outfit.
Oh,
yeah, it was just
right. Oh,
putrid.
yeah.
Bad.
That was
Really bad.
Right.
Nothing happened. That movie just,
Yeah.
I was going to say the Hindenburg, but the Hindenburg, as you recall, was in the air.
Right, for a minute.
And then it crashed.
and then
Right.
it-
That movie never actually got off the ground. So they'd had Uma Thurman in, and all the guys in the model shop were still vibrating with excitement because they'd had her in her underwear and they'd done her bodysuit.
Oh.
So
Wow.
they were like, we had Uma Thurman in. And they're like, all right,
all
fellas.
busted.
All right, fellas.
Okay.
And so they did our heads. And in those days, now you don't do it because I've had it done subsequent to then. In those days, they literally put 2 straws up your nose, and that's how you breathe.
You've seen that.
mold.
And then
Yeah.
they put the thing over you, and it just covers you completely. And
Oh,
then-
my God.
And so there's pictures of us online. You can see our giant heads that they made us. And then we shot all day with George. And I came into the set, and we were wearing these horrible, like, little, jumpy suits because we were in front of a blue screen.
Right.
So you're just
You're-
smuggling
you're
everything.
exposed.
Yeah.
You're exposed.
With a giant head on that I'm like,
Right. You're all. I may have a love handle.
right. Yeah, just a little. And my male breasts in full glory. And they go, George comes over and goes, and I can call him George because I work with him. He comes over and he goes, so have you guys seen the sequence? And I went, no, George, it's a secret. No one's seen it. Because no one had seen it.
Oh, right.
We had to sign non-disclosure agreements, the
Nobody-
whole. And he's like, oh, you want to see it? And that's how he acted. He didn't,
Right.
not like a director.
Right.
He wasn't Michael Bay.
Yeah.
He
Right.
would like
Right.
yell at us. And we went, yeah, okay. So he puts it on, and the monitor was about yay big, like 3x4. It was
Okay.
a little
So
computer
small.
monitor. And I don't have my glasses on because I was wearing a prosthetic head.
Right.
So I can't see at all.
damn.
So I put my face up to it like this and watched the sequence, which wasn't finished. It was just models and schematics. And then we went and
dope.
shot it, and it was a lot of us turning our heads and doing the lines over and over. And after every take, and there was 150 people standing there.
Oh,
you
my
know?
God.
George would go, he'd walk up to us and go, that was good. Do you want to do it again? And I'd go every time, okay, George, we'll do it again. So he did like 30, 40 takes, but he really would. He didn't. It was never quiet.
Right.
Right.
Speed, action, no.
Right.
He just walk up and go, that was good.
That'd have to be weird.
Man, I thought there'd be a big bell and like clear,
No,
quiet.
not on that set.
Right.
That
Wow.
explains Phantom
George's
Menace.
set was like,
Chill.
really. Now, on the same day as us, Frank Oz was doing second unit with Ewan McGregor because Ewan came in and we got to meet him ever so briefly. So to answer your question, and this is the longest answer in the world,
That's the best answer.
Scott, at the end of the day, now we've taken our heads off, which took several hours,
Yeah.
and because it took like 2 hours to put them on.
Yeah, totally.
And of course, once you're in it, you can't eat or do anything. We finished the day, and the second AD comes around, and Scott goes, "Let's get some swag." And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be groovy." And so he goes, "Is there any swag?" And the second AD goes, "Hold on a minute, I'll be back." he buggers off, comes back, and he gives us 2 polar fleeces. Now, you say you're a Star Wars nerd. The polar fleeces say Episode 1.
Whoa. Now that could be sold on eBay.
The movie wasn't named yet.
Oh.
See, if if you know anything about Star Wars, Phantom Menace is the first movie.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
we
you found
know
out about
that.
episode 1.
Star Wars is the fourth movie.
Right. Yeah, no,
So
I know
that's
that.
crazy.
Right.
Return of the Jedi is the fifth movie,
So
now
which
you're-
was Revenge of the Jedi, and then those shirts that say Revenge are really collector's items because
Right.
they changed the name of
To
the
return
movie. Yeah,
because it was too violent.
it's too violent.
Right,
So
they
we
killed
weren't
too
the
many
Phantom
teddy
Menace yet.
bears.
And so I have a polar fleece. Don't come to my house and kill me.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a polar fleece that says
I just want to be in the
episode
room
1
with
on
it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool,
So
man.
they didn't give me a code or nothing. Scott begged for swag, and they gave us 2 polar fleeces.
That's
So
kind
we
of
went
awesome.
back to my flat in London where I was living at the time with my wife and ordered Chinese food and rubbed the polar fleeces on.
Right. Look what I got. It's right
I
here.
remember the day very well.
And that's,
Hey,
you're good at remembering everything. Accents that people had, certain things that they said, their names. You're amazing,
That was a
Greg.
fun day, though.
You're amazing.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with
Yes,
us, man. It's
thank
been a
you.
lot
Dude, that
of
was
fun.
awesome.
Thank
We could
you.
go
Yeah.
on and on and on.
Yeah, if you need anything from the Green Solution while you're here at dispensary, we can take care of you. Just wink or nod. Yeah.
We got you.
But we do have to play a commercial for the Green Solution right
Okay.
now. So
Do.
you make sure you get those tickets right now. ComedyWorks.com. Here tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. You do not want to miss him. And Greg, thanks again for coming out and hanging out with us,
Thanks,
man.
you guys. I had so much fun.
We're not worthy. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Please rise.
The Greens. From the Mile High City.
And now, worldwide.
You're streaming Larry and Kathie's
Blazing Hit Radio.